Everyone, thanks for joining me for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Keith Armour. I'm the Education and Homework Support Manager down here at the main library and the Adult Learning Center. Last week, we went over career prep, which used to be called career transitions, and they added a whole bunch of new features, so they decided to change the name to career prep. We went over the resume section last Thursday. We're going to look at that just briefly, just to refresh everyone's mind. And then we're going to then dive into the advice section, which has a whole bunch of different lessons to help you prepare for an interview, help you prepare for resumes, all sorts of different ways that can give you some really valuable advice. And of course, we're going to take a look at some of the activities that are happening around the library system. So let's go ahead and dive right in to career prep. Well, all right, everyone, you should be seeing our wonderful website, cincinnatilibrary.org. We're going to come over here to services, and then we look under the column for adults, and it says jobs. There's a whole bunch of resources that are here just a click away. We are going to go to career transitions, which of course has changed its name to career prep. But Job Now has a lot of information. It also have live coaches that are available for you Monday, 7 days a week from 2 in the afternoon to 11. That will be very helpful. And then there's some other websites that might come in handy as well. You've got Universal Class. It has a whole bunch of office skill classes and computer training and Microsoft Office tutorials. Canopy has some great courses. Treehouse is very specific on coding and web design and even creation of different web apps. And lynda.com, this is where you're going to see a whole bunch of video tutorials that is going to teach you specifically about certain software and also a whole bunch of other things as well. We've done all these in past Lunch and Learns, so check those out. But this is really going to give you some really good professional development before you even interview for a job. So keep that in mind. Now, we're going to go to career transitions. Now, if you're outside the library, what's going to happen is another window would pop up and you'd have to put in your library card number and your PIN. Don't forget, call 369-6900 and talk to someone in our virtual information center, and you can get your own library card that is just an e-card that you can use with all of these resources. Now, registration is very easy, and it's very important to register for Peterson's Career Prep. And I'm just going to click on registration. Very easy. You just put your first name, last name, and an email address and create a password. Now, I've already created one, so I'm going to log in. You want to create one because when you create a resume or a cover letter, you want to be able to access it and change it all the time. And a lot of times when you Google, and Google is great, but you Google free resume builder and you get in there and you start building your resume, and at the very end when you're ready to print or you're ready to send it, it will ask you to put in, even though this resume is free, it's going to ask you to put in a credit card number. And that is not the case with Peterson's Career Prep. This is a library resource. This is something that is totally free. So when you create a resume, you will be able to print and save it and share that resume. You will not have to pay for it. You will have to put in your library card number and your PIN, but just to get to this part of the website. Now, we talked about creating a resume last week. Next week, we're going to find a career, and today we're going to do the advice section. But before that, I want to dive real quick into create a resume. If you did not watch that last week for Lunch and Learn, I'm going to click here. Very easy to do. You just click on your resume, and it will default to a visual editor. Now, Ashley is one of my nieces, and she is actually in nursing school. Very proud of her. However, this is not her resume. That's not her phone number. That's the phone number to the Adult Learning Center. And that's our website, our email address as well. But I used her as the template. And the qualifications for a nurse and everything are right here. Now, when you start to doing a resume, you want to click Basic Editor first, and then you want to put in your information right here. It's very easy to do. If you want to change something, if you want to add a picture, you can click here, and then you can change this information. You can even put your personal website here, and you can add an image. It's very, very easy to do. Same thing with summary. You just click on summary, and you can add and delete and change things here. All you have to do is click on the blue section. You'll notice that my cursor came up, and I could type something more here. I could add another bullet right here. After pain management, I could click on something else when it comes to pre and post operative care. I'm going to hit cancel. Same thing when it comes to experience. You can add your experience, and if I click add, I could just add something. I'm just going to type in library, school, even that has nothing to do, and hit save. And notice it happens at the very end. Well, you want it to be in the right order, so you might want to move this up here because that's the last thing you did. Now, I'm going to get rid of that, so I'm just going to delete that, right? And you can add things, you can move it in the different order that you want, but putting it all in here in the basic editor is a really great place to start, and then go to the visual editor. And that's where it will look a little bit different. But the thing is that you could still click on each section and add something else, okay? This is the visual editor. Now, if I go over here to appearance, I'm going to click here to templates, and I can change what it looks like. I could put this right here, and there it is. And then I could add a whole bunch of another section here, or move some of these over to this area over here. And it's very easy to do, but that's the visual editor. I'm going to go back. I'm going to click this one again, and then I can hit preview, and you'll notice I can't click on any of these. You cannot edit on the preview, just the visual editor. That's where you can change it. But look at all of the different ones that are here. It's just amazing the different styles that you can create. And just by clicking and then having it. So let's go to preview again. And here is the share feature. So I could share a link that goes directly to this resume. I could download it in Word. And then, of course, I could download it as a PDF, and I could send it that way. You would always have access to this with your library card and your pen, and then with your registration information. So you can always change and update it. All right, so that is the resume. And we're going to go over to advice, and it has these individual modulars that's really going to help you with career seeking. It's going to help you prepare your resume and cover letters, and even negotiating job conditions, something that a lot of us are not very good about doing. And it also is a way to find a new career and land a job. So we're going to click on this one. We're going to go to find a career next week, but for today we're going to go find advice. And you'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sections on this career advice. You can change a career, resumes, interviewing and networking, job search, military transition, resume basics, resume FAQs, resume sections. Maybe there's some another section, like that whole white section that was on that one, or that area that needed to be filled in. Maybe this will help you with that. And salary negotiations. And then something that's really important is to target your resume for your job search. So you find a particular job and you really want to target, make sure your resume really highlights some of the experience that you have that goes with that particular job search that you're looking at. Well, let's go to career change first. You might be thinking of a career change. You want to work through this whole thing. There's 46 different slides. And you've got the big decisions, self-assessment, information interview, recruiters and job placement, resumes, cover letters, interviewing, and benefit gaps. So if I just click on, well, let's just click here. Here's the big decision to change your career. And it might have to do with, getting some knowledge about the job market, the new field that you're thinking about, but really for reflecting on yourself. What type of things would be interesting for you? To search the jobs available in the field before jumping in. That's these choices here to determine the qualifications and qualities. And then to find additional training and education that you might need for a new field. And then you'd go into the self-assessment part. And your starting point in finding a new job is not writing a superb resume, even though that was a great resume that we were writing. That's not necessarily where you start. You start with getting an idea of your personality type, pinpointing your interests, realizing what you really value, and learning how you work, and discovering the field or job in which you will thrive. That's where you really start, not doing these things over here. And some of us just want to jump over here quickly before we really do some self-assessment if you truly want to change your job. And so the next 4 slides would have to do with self-assessment. And then there's information interview, and they'll ask you some questions before you talk to anyone. And then there's a recruiters and job placement, and that's slides 16 through 23. You'll notice there's a whole bunch about recruiters. And then there's a section, 5 slides on resumes. And then cover letters are very important because that's very specific to the particular job that you're applying for. And then there's a section on interviewing, and then there's 6 slides on benefit gaps. And it's very important to understand about health insurance and how 401k rollovers and unemployment insurance and all of that plays in this career change. Okay, so that you can just bounce around if you like, or you can go through each one of the 46 different slides. Okay, click back. Here's cover letters. Same thing, it's 38 slides, and it's going to take you from the basic cover letter all the way to 5 things to make your cover letter stand out. Cold cover letters for executives, cover letters for high school students, and then cover letter, the top 10 cover letter mistakes. Let's click on that. Yes, some of the common mistakes are spelling and grammar, and repeating the same word over and over, and forgetting to replace a company name, and then carelessness. But you don't want a form letter template, informal writing, cover letter length, too much I in there, and then rambling, no keywords, spelling errors, quirky fonts, making your fonts look a little bit different, sloppy tracking, and then no follow-up. So those are just some, and they go into a lot more detail on each slide. And then they give you some cover letter samples too. They give you some sample cover letters for executives, and they give some for a military transition, and then professional down here as well. And then moving on to the next one, you've got entry-level resumes, or cover letters, cover letters for all of these as well, okay? So we're going to click back out. Same thing when it comes to interviewing and networking. And then we've got the job search and military transition. Let's look at that one. And a lot of times people are getting out of the military and they're moving on to a civilian job. And you might know someone or you might be that person. And this is a spot that they probably would want to start first because it's going to talk about the transition timeline, the military discharge, relocation, also the Department of Veteran Affairs and hiring preferences for veterans. There are some jobs that are out there that have some preference for veterans. And then a military transition resume. How do those skills that you learned in the military transition to a new job? And interviewing tips and then jobs searching. So let's just look at military transition resumes. And here it is, search jobs like Indeed, and then there's a skills translator. Don't forget to take advantage of the skills translator. And if I click right here, here is a career one step. And here are some tools to help you transition from one career to another. So you might want to check that out. Same thing when it comes to sample a military transition resume. You click here and look at, these are some military transition resumes that are there, okay? And interviewing tips too. All right, let me get rid of a couple of windows up here. All right, and resume basics. It's going to take you through each one, the 6-step resume writing guide. So maybe you filled out your resume already on the resume builder. Maybe you want to run through this just to make sure that you are not part of the 10 resume proofing mistakes that we sometimes make. Okay. All right. And then we have resume FAQs, job experience questions, education questions, personal qualification questions, and all of these are here as well. And then resume sections. Now, we wanted to look at this one because resume sections, these are some other areas that you might want to think about when it comes to affiliations and memberships. It's going to talk about the kind of memberships and affiliations that you want to put in a resume and the ones that you don't want to. You're going to really talk about job titles here, education, experience, even your hobbies and interests sometimes really helps people understand a little bit more about you and what interests you. But they also want you to make sure that you, when not to include resume hobbies and interests, and that's over here as well. So each one of these has a great section, and then right here is target resume for your job search. Click here, and there are the keywords and the resumes and everything, federal resumes. And those are really targeted, so you want to make sure that you have information that's there that are very targeted, okay? So that is the career advice on Peterson's Career Prep, and that's this section right here, and there's 10 different modulars that will help you with your career, and then you could go back and apply it in your resume and creating a cover letter as well, and then helping find a career. We're going to do that next week for here. So when you go to our website, once again, you go to cincinnatilibrary.org, hit services, then come over to adults and then jobs, and that's where you'll find career transitions right here. And you'll then click on there, and then you'll have to put in your library card number and your PIN. All right, let's check out a few things that are happening around the library. And let's look at the events page. I already programmed this page already for this coming Saturday. And you've got, well, you've got a wait list for this one. So let's not talk about that one. At West End, They got Grown Folks Crafting Holiday Wreaths, and that's happening from 11 to 3, and that's at the West End. At Pleasant Ridge, they've got Family Nature Club, Wildlife in Winter. That's at Pleasant Ridge. You've got our virtual event down here in the Adult Learning Center, Self-Care on a Budget. Of course, the registration's closed on that. Sorry about that. And then North Central, hopefully the rain will hold off. Outdoor do-it-yourself family fun with holiday crafts. That's for kids. And then one thing I really want to point out is this virtual roundtable. Our writer in residence, she is going to conduct this, and it's a virtual roundtable. There's more than one way to publish a book, and that's from 2 until 4. There's 30 seats remaining, so check that out. If you've ever thought about writing a book and publishing it, or you've already written a book and you want to know how to publish it, this is a perfect one for you. Let's go back one more. And let's look at, there is a take and make holiday ornament for adults. And we're doing a whole bunch of take and makes for children, teens, and adults. And this is one that's happening. Actually, it's happening from Sunday all the way until next Saturday, the 19th. And that's at the Green Township branch, where they're making all sorts of different fun ornaments. But this one's actually for adults. And then going back to our main page, you can go to Covedale and take and make a stress ball, and this is for all ages, and that's happening from 14 to the end of the year. And then we have all of our virtual story times that are happening too. So definitely check that out. Oh gosh, Coreyville's even doing a gingerbread house make and take for all ages. That would be pretty cool. I do want to put in one plug for an upcoming class that's happening with our Adult Learning Center. It's our virtual class. It's the first one that we've done. All across the system, we have a lot of English language learners who come to conversational groups. This is the first time that we're actually attempting to do an English class, level 1 class. And this is it's for 16 weeks. It doesn't actually start until January the 4th, but it's very limited. There's only 8 students, so it's more personalized for the instruction. But we're going to help with reading, vocabulary, writing, speaking, listening, comprehension, and grammar. And those are the times that we're going to do it. We're going to do it Mondays and Tuesdays from 1 to 2. And these are all the dates that we're going to have. And there is one little prerequisite, and that's this right up here. And that is we're having each individual that registers to sign up. And then what I will do is I will have a Zoom placement test with them. So they'll be asked to read some, answer some questions, just to make sure that this level 1 class is the right level for them. So if you know anyone that is interested in learning English, if they're English speakers of other languages, ESOL individuals, and they would like to get a little bit better with reading, vocabulary, writing, and speaking, point them in our direction. And all you have to do to get to this page right here is go to our main page and go to events and go to all events. And you could just click here and click over here to the 4th if you want, but if you forgot that, that's fine. You could click on adult education here, and then you'd have to keep scrolling, scrolling, and scrolling. That's when you'd want to find the 4th of January, 2021, and there it is right here. You just click, and the person would have to have access to an internet computer that has a camera. because there's going to be some interaction during these classes, and you just register right here. So you would click here for registering, and you'd put your first name, last name, and your email, and then I would reach out to you and contact you, and or contact the individual, and then we would sign them up for a class. All right. I'm going to click out and tell you a couple more of things, and we'll go from there. All right. That was career prep, the advice section. We, of course, looked a little bit at the resume as well, but take their advice, especially in the resume section. Go back and look at your resume that you produced, you created, and see if you can change it a little bit. And there's a section on cover letters, and then salary negotiations. Great advice on that. And then also, if you're transitioning from a military job to a civilian job, there's a whole section on that as well. Don't forget about our wonderful activities that are happening all through the library system. And of course, grown folks crafting at West Inn. They're making something over there. That should be kind of fun. North Central is doing their outdoor do-it-yourself family crafting for kids. And hopefully it won't rain on Saturday. And there's a holiday ornament. That's one of our take and makes that's happening at Green Township. And that one's for adults, but there's a whole bunch of take and makes right there all across our system for all ages. Our virtual roundtable with our wonderful writer in residence, she is going to conduct a great roundtable on there's more than one way to publish a book. That's happening on Saturday as well. And then I'm going to put one more plug in for the English class that the Adult Learning Center is doing. One thing that's going to happen is it does not start until January the 4th, but we need to do a placement test over Zoom. And we want to make sure that the person that is signing up is an adult, English as their second language, and they're trying to learn to speak and to read and to write in English a little bit better. So definitely, if you know anyone, have them sign up for that. That's on our events page on our calendar, and that's January the 4th. So next week, we're going to talk about job searching. That's the last section on test prep, and I will see you next week for Lunch and Learn. Thanks. Have a good day.